Okay, okay, okay. Can I say shade any more times? Oh no. This palette hates me. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I have a review on the Huda Beauty Wild Obsessions palettes. I have all four of them here. I did pick them up late because I just was so unsure if I actually wanted them. And I'm gonna tell you right now that I kind of regret buying them. I have Chameleon on my eyes right now. This was a struggle and you'll see when we get to that tutorial. I really don't want to let my negative energy scare you away, so hopefully it doesn't and hopefully you will enjoy this video. It's not all negative, I promise. But if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I do a ton of product reviews just like this and eyeshadow looks and fun bold colors. That's my thing. I do upload 5 videos a week, so if that sounds like something that you would enjoy, I would love to have you join my fam. And let's get into this video. Before we get into each tutorial, I did just want to mention the deets about this palette. For some reason, this palette is not available at Sephora. This is the Tiger Obsessions palette. This is why I ordered from Huda, because I was like, I might as well just pick them all up there. They're all $29. These are 9-pan eyeshadow palettes and they are made in China. So it says a lot about their quality. I will tell you right now, I do enjoy Huda's quality in her bigger palettes. These 9 pans are never the same quality. When I saw these, I was like, I gotta have them. So I'm gonna be doing one look with each palette in this video. I'll have these linked down below if you're interested in purchasing them. I'll also have timestamps down below if you're interested in skipping ahead to the palette that you are interested in. Okay, I think that's everything I have to say and we can get into the first palette. So the palette I'm starting off with is the Tiger palette, which is the palette that not a lot of people have reviewed because you can only buy it on Huda's site. I don't know why. Now, when I did receive this shade was broken. It was completely crumbled. I repressed it and put alcohol in it after I emailed customer service and I was like, hello. And then they ended up refunding me my money. I think they swatched beautifully. I really liked the way the mattes swatched, especially. I thought they were really, really nice and not patchy. Now, did that translate on the eyes? You'll have to watch and find out because I have some thoughts. I felt like the metallics, all of them are more like toppers. They're kind of crumbly and they kind of like have glitter particles that kind of like separate from the base of the eyeshadow, if that makes sense, except for this shade, which is the top gold of the palette, which I have on my lids. You have to build it up a little bit, but it comes off quite opaque and not as like crumbly and sheer as the other metallics. I love the shades in this palette. It really did call to me because it's not like your average neutral palette. I really did enjoy like the pops of color, if you will, as in the yellow, the orange, which is not something you typically see in a neutral palette. Like you just see like different shades of brown in a neutral palette. So it is a neutral palette with some color in it-ish. I still find this extremely neutral and honestly kind of boring in my opinion, but let's get into the tutorial because I do have a lot of thoughts. Okay, so the first shade I'm gonna take is actually this really muted beige shade. I don't know that I have anything like this in my collection. I don't know that it's gonna do very much either way because it is so light. Let's see. I'm really curious as to how it'll work as a transition shade. So there's quite a bit of fallout with this shade, but we'll see. If it's light enough, then it does show up. Okay, I like that quite a bit actually. I'm gonna take the yellow in the inner part of my crease. I'm curious how this will look. Quite a bit of fallout with this shade as well, but let's see which one's darker. These two shades are very, very similar. I could have done without one or the other. I really like yellow in the crease. I just like the brightness of a yellow. Okay, so I wiped this off because I actually want to switch them. I'm gonna take the like beige shade in the inner part and I want to leave this in the video because you know this is just an experiment. I'm trying to use as many colors in the palette as possible. Stuff like this happens to me all the time where I wipe off my makeup and then I'll do the yellow in the outer corner. I'm just gonna wing it out a little bit as well. I would say the yellow is a little bit powdery for my taste. It's not as pigmented as I would like. It's a fine yellow. It's not the best I've ever used, but it's not the worst either. I'm actually fluffing a little bit more of that beige shade over the yellow because I think it'll blend it out quite nicely actually. And I'm gonna bring some of the yellow toward the inner corner as well. I think this is a better idea. What I like about the yellow is that you're able to build it and it doesn't get patchy. It's just a little powdery for my taste, that's all, but it's really nice actually the way it looks. Okay, I'm gonna go in with this orange now and just deepen out the crease. I'm gonna take a Refer 13 brush for this. I don't know, when I look at this palette I think fall, and you know fall's coming, so I'm so excited. Fall is my favorite season. I don't know, that shade right there reminds me of pumpkin, like a pumpkin spice something. I'm just like so in the spirit of fall. This shade I find a little patchy, not gonna lie. I don't know what's going on right here. Let me take a little more yellow. I'm not loving the way this is looking, to be honest. Do some more blending. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this like pinky mauve shade. I feel like these will go well together. I hope they do. Oh yeah, it comes across as like a muted brown type thing, and that's gonna like deepen out the outer corner only. I'm gonna take it a little into the crease as well. Do you guys see how patchy that is? Oh no, I'm so sad. Do you guys see? Do you see what I'm saying? It's a little patchy. On the lid, I'm gonna take this gold shade right here. Let's see how it goes without spraying the brush. When swatching this, it almost seemed more like a topper. Like, it's kind of sheer and you have to build it up, but it would look a lot better with the finger. Yeah, let's try it. Yep, I recommend using a concealer. Oh my gosh, it's getting all over my crease. Let's go ahead and keep blending this. Do you guys see how patchy it is? Am I crazy? I'm gonna take a little bit of the brown, by the way, and just put this in the outer corner because I need to fix this little mess here. But let's just blend that in. Guys, I really don't know what's happening, but this one is also getting pretty patchy. I've tried everything. I use the same base today. Like, I use a mixture of the P. Louise base with my concealer, and I use the CoverGirl concealer, which is one of my favorite concealers of all time. Honestly, this one's not impressing me so far, which makes me sad. On the lower lash line, I'm gonna first go in with the dark brown shade and just kind of take that over here just to kind of connect it, just the outer part. And then I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is stunning, by the way. I'm gonna put that like right on top pretty much. And then I'm gonna take this shade over here, which is more of a yellow gold. This is the one that came broken in my palette. This one also seems more like a topper. I'm gonna take this in the inner part of my lower lash line. I just love the way that looks. The last shade, oh my gosh, is my favorite shade. It is stunning. Look at that duochrome. I don't know if my camera is even going to pick it up, how beautiful it is. Like, it looks so pretty in person. And I also love the imprint on the actual pan. It's so pretty, but I'm just gonna take this one in the inner corner. I think it's a stunning shade. Look at that duochrome. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. A little bit of fallout, especially with the glitter shades. Definitely recommend doing your eyes first. Okay, so this is the final look. My final thoughts on this palette are not great. Slightly disappointed already. I really don't know if repressing shades ends up changing the formula. It works on the lower lash line, and it probably would work. I mean, the way I swatched it, it comes off as more of a topper. So definitely not something I would use on the lid by itself because it won't be opaque enough, in my opinion. I don't think. This shade ended up looking lovely. This is the darker gold shade. I did not enjoy this shade or this shade. I thought they were a little patchy. I do want to use them maybe with a different technique. Every other shade was totally fine. I really like this shade. I want to create a smoky eye with like this shade. All of the metallics in this palette are like crumbly a little bit to the point where they almost are perceived as toppers. Although this one I think is the most non-crumbly one. It actually doesn't really crumble as much. I do feel like you can create a lot of looks with this palette. I just don't think that the formula is the best at this very moment in time. I did like the orange and the yellow, and this shade was great. It actually ended up working a lot better than I thought it would. It looked so close to my skin tone that I thought it wasn't gonna show up. And this is my favorite shade in the whole palette. I love this duochrome. Do I have other shades that do this in other palettes and single eyeshadows from indie brands? Yes, absolutely I do. It's still stunning regardless. I mean, I ended up doing a look that I really do enjoy. Like, I think it turned out fine. Unless you're staring at me like really this close to my face, you're not gonna notice the patchiness in the outer corner with the darker shades. I think that's all I had to say about this palette. I'm not 100% in love with this palette right now, and this is the first Obsessions palette I've tried in a long time. I had high hopes and now I'm like, meh. We'll see how the other ones do. I'm not gonna let that sway my opinion, I promise you. And yeah, let's move on to the next palette. Okay, so up next we have the Jaguar palette. This is what it looks like, and here are the swatches. I do have to say they swatched quite nicely except for one shade, and that is this shade over here. I'm gonna get into it when I actually use it. I was able to use every single shade in this palette to create this look. I'm really loving how this turned out. I'll let you guys know my thoughts throughout the tutorial and especially at the end, so let's get into it. So I'm gonna start off with this pale pink shade, and that's gonna go all over the crease. See how it works as a transition shade. This also seems very light, but it might actually work. I think this is a perfect shade to blend out all the other shades you use in your crease. I'm gonna go in with this shade next. I kind of wish they had names. I just realized that they don't. I love this shade. This is like the perfect like taupey purple shade. Super pretty. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more of that transition shade. I'm just gonna deepen it out with this shade, of course, which is like a deeper shade of the shade I just took. Can I say shade any more times? Kind of blend this in the outer corner and bring it into the crease. Yeah, these shades are performing so much better. I'm gonna further deepen it out with the black, which by the way is a little bit drier of a formula black, which I don't mind because blacks can be really intimidating. So this one is just not as pigmented as some blacks that I've used, which is great because that way you don't go overboard, you know? I'm noticing that all of these shadows are kind of blending into one another and they kind of just look like the same shade. Their true colors are not peeking through at the moment, so I'm kind of like concerned. I'm gonna keep trying to blend these shades out. Okay, and then on the lid I'm actually gonna take the silver shade first. This shade swatched so pretty. It's got like a beautiful purple reflect. It is gorgeous. Look at this one. You don't even need a setting spray for this. You might, just to like avoid the fallout that I just got, but it's okay. I love it. I rarely wear cool tone looks. I don't know why. I'm gonna flip my brush real quick and just grab a little bit of this one. It's just a darker version. I really like the spots in this. I thought it was a gimmick thing, but no, this definitely comes out a little darker than it looks on the pan because of the spots or whatever. It'll bridge really nicely to the black shade. Let's grab a little bit more of this black and just kind of diffuse that into there. Okay, and then on the lower lash line, how do I want to go about this? So this is the only shade when I swatched it that it really disappointed me. It does not look anything the way it looks on the pan. It's just a little underwhelming. It's almost too wet that it comes across as nothing, but whatever. We're gonna take a little bit of this shade on the lower lash line. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna put first a little bit of the black. I'm gonna take a little small pencil brush. This is a Rephr 03 brush. I just kind of put that on the outer edge. Right on top of that, I'll put this shade and see how that goes. I'm not sure how this shade would do on the lid. I don't think it would work very well. I actually don't think it's working very well at all, like on the lower lash line either. I'm just gonna clean this off and take a little bit of the gold and put that in the rest of my... I think the gold is a little mismatched here. It's such a cool tone palette and then you have a gold, which makes it warm. Like, I don't know. In the inner corner, I'm gonna take this gorgeous shade. I loved when I swatched this one. It has a gorgeous duochrome as well. Okay, so this is the final look. Now let me tell you, I did struggle a little bit with this look as well. Not as much as the Tiger palette, but I do feel like I lost a lot of that purple like base. I don't know, this shade right here. I do like the formula of this one a little bit more. I think the mattes are a little more blendable. Even though the black is really dry, it's really nice because it's not as pigmented and you could easily blend it. I do like the shimmers in this the best, except for this one, like I already talked about. It's very thin. I think that this is a fun palette. I love the cool tones. I love this shade. I love this shade. I love the gold as well. I think it's very nice. It's more of a cooler tone gold, but I still think it's a little out of place in this palette, but I do like it. And overall, I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this palette, so I look forward to using it a little bit more. Up next, we have the Python palette. I thought it was appropriate to wear my little snake skin shirt. Anyway, this is the look I created. I had a lot of fun with this one, I'm not gonna lie. I love the color story. This is what it looks like. I will say that the mattes are very creamy and they are a lot more pigmented than I expected, which makes me so happy. When swatching, I was really impressed with all the mattes. The shimmers are a little bit underwhelming and they seem more like toppers in my opinion, that you can't really pack on the shades as much as I would like personally. I still think that this palette's a lot of fun, and let's get into the tutorial. I think I'm gonna start with this shade right here. I'm a little nervous about this because it is a neon like green shade. Hopefully will not do me dirty, all right? And just kind of buff that all over the crease. So far that's laying down nicely. Honestly, I'm surprised. I'm blending out. It's pigmented and not patchy. How exciting, guys. I'm gonna take the light blue shade, like light aqua. I don't know, I love the shade. And these two together, I am highly impressed already. I'm so happy because honestly the other palettes are slightly disappointing in my eyes. Let's see how these two blend together. That's why I wanted to do them together. I was gonna put this one in the outer corner and then the yellow green shade in the inner corner, but I think that these will go really nicely together. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the yellow shade and just kind of diffuse the outer edges of the blue. I'm having a much easier time than the other two palettes, and I think that this looks really good, guys. And I've just been building up and blending out the shades, and they go really well together. Like, they're mixing well, they're blending well. I know how to speak words, I promise. Love them. Then on the lid, I'm gonna take, okay, which shade do I take first? You know what? I think I'm gonna take this green shade. The more I look at this, the more I think this is an exact copy of the Club Nebula palette that everyone is comparing this to. Quite so. I'm gonna have to pull it out later just to see for myself. I think I am gonna go in with this one on my lid right next to it. See how it goes. It's actually really pretty. I think these are great toppers. Like, if you were to just take a matte eyeshadow and put these on top, it would look absolutely stunning. Taking your finger just works a lot better for this formula right here. Kind of like brings out the opacity. Of course, you know, we have to blend things out, so I'm taking the blue, the matte blue. It's a little weird because this shimmer shade is a little darker than the matte, so it's looking a little strange. I wish there was like a deeper blue in this palette. First, gonna take this shade over here on the lower lash line. I'm gonna do like half of it because I don't know how I'm gonna incorporate every single shade right now yet. I'm gonna blend that out with this shade right here, which is like the peachy one. Then with a tiny pencil brush, I'm gonna take the brown and take this shade in the inner part. The shade again has a very high glitter base to it. I don't mind it actually. It's kind of a vibe. It's a little different. I like it. In the inner corner, I'm gonna take this shade. This is a lovely, gorgeous duochrome. I think will tie everything together, so that's good. Okay, so this is the final look. I have to say that I am really impressed with this palette. I think all of the shades work really, really well together. The only thing is I feel like it's kind of a random mix of colors. The warm tone neutrals mixed with the blues. I wish this was a full-on blue-green eyeshadow palette. I think that every shade worked beautifully. I didn't have as many issues as the other palettes. Was it the easiest formula to use? No. I think this is an exact dupe for the Club Nebula, minus like these. I think there is a shade similar to this one though. I really like this palette, and I think for the price, and if you couldn't get your hands on the Club Nebula, it is great, and I think you'll love it if you like these tones. It's fantastic. And yeah, let's move on to the Chameleon palette. Lastly, we have the Chameleon palette here. This is what it looks like. I really love the color story of this palette, but it is the palette that I struggled with the most, and you're gonna see in the tutorial how that went. So let's just get into the tutorial right now. I'm gonna start with the lightest shade, of course. I'm just gonna start with a transition shade. I think I'm gonna do a halo eye and see if I could put either the purple or the gold in the center. I'm not sure, and then do the purple on the lower lash line type thing. I have not decided what I'm gonna do yet, but I think I will do a halo eye at least. That color's a lot more pigmented than it comes across in the pan. This shade is stunning. It's actually working so nicely. It's not patchy. I'll go in with this shade just to deepen it out a little bit, taking more of the original shade and blending out the outer edges. I'm gonna take this shade, I think. Whoa, that's pigmented. Please blend, please blend. That has a lot of fallout. It just got everywhere, all over all the other pans. Adding a bit more of the second shade to blend out the outer edges first. And here we got patchy. I'm getting annoyed at these shadows. I thought it was like fallout from the other shade, like the matte shade that's on top, but it's not. It's not fallout, it's patchiness. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna start with the purple. I think I'm gonna take that in the center. I just want it to be a nice pop. Oh, that is a stunning shade. Let's see if I can make it so that it kind of masks some of the patchiness in the other shade. I don't know, this is kind of a random mix of colors, I would say. I've seen a lot of people use this on the lower lash line, the purple, but I just wanted to do something different. Thought this would be nice, and it is. It's cute. The dark mattes in all the palettes across the board have given me a hard time, so I'm taking more of that, blending it into the purple. The frustration and disappointment. I'm gonna go on the lower lash line. I'm gonna start with this shade right here because I haven't used it either, and that's gonna go in the outer corner. Hopefully this won't be patchy in the damn lower lash line. I don't think it will. All right, I took some clean brushes and I wiped it off again, and well, I wiped off this side because it was just looking horrible. I took some clean brushes and I think I kind of fixed some of the situation, but it's just not gonna get any better, and both eyes look different. I don't even know how I'm gonna take a picture for Instagram. I don't think I can. Like, that's just the way it's gonna go. This is horrible. I'm gonna try to make it work at some point in life because that's my determination. I don't want to give up. This was frustrating as hell. Like, I'm actually mad. I'm angry. Let's continue with the lower lash line. I was taking that burgundy shade, the lighter burgundy. I'm gonna take this shade, which I actually really liked when I swatched it. The shimmer shades I don't have an issue with. It's the mattes. I'm gonna take this over here. I'm gonna take this shade over here. I love, and that's gonna go in the inner part of the lower lash line. Yep, there you go. Simple lower lash line. I should have kept it simple, in all honesty. I really should have. I do want to try to fix this eye because I have to do my intro and outro with this makeup, and it looks absolutely ridiculous right now. So let me do that. I just might as well finish this on camera for you. I'm going to take the gold shade, which is really lovely actually. It's a little bit more muted, more like a topper, like these shimmers tend to be. And that's going to go in the inner corner. There's kind of a nice shift to it too though. It's almost a duochrome. I did forget to use one of the shades. I'm going to take this shade. I did not use it. Buff that right under here. There you go. I used every single shade in the palette. It was extremely difficult to do, but I did it. I figured it out. You have to use really fluffy brushes, no dense brushes. That's how you get this to not be patchy. The moment I was trying to pack on shades is the moment it became patchy. It still shouldn't be this difficult. Okay guys, this is the final look. This is as good as I can do. I felt frustrated while creating this entire look. So toward the end, like, I just stopped caring. My lashes even look wonky. Like, you could tell that my energy just wasn't there. And I totally, like, I feed off of like the energy that my surroundings give me. I don't know how to explain what I feel, but this palette hates me. This palette hates me, so I hate this palette. Like, let's just say that. I am not a fan of the quality of the darker mattes in general across the board. I'm gonna tell you right now, I love the Python the most, and the reason I did is because there are no dark mattes in here to mess with you. I'm a makeup artist. Like, I do makeup on other people. I know how to blend eyeshadow, and it looks like a 5-year-old did my makeup today. If I had to rank these from my least favorite to my favorite, least favorite, I had way too many issues with this. Then it comes this one. This one was okay. Like, it's just boring to me color story wise. I really vibe with this one a lot. I had a little less trouble with this one than I did with the Tiger anyway. So I do like the Jaguar. So once again, Chameleon, last place, 100%. Then Tiger, then Jaguar. I really did enjoy the cool tones in this one. I thought this was fun, and I really love this one. This one's my favorite one. I love the color story. I love the quality in here. I think it's really great, but again, there are no deep mattes. I haven't used this one in the same way I tried to use this dark brown burgundy shade, so I have no idea if it's gonna do the same thing, but I can guarantee you it probably will. The way I used it today was on my lower lash line. That's it, and it didn't give me any issues. I don't know. I found the way I did this eye to be a lot better. You just gotta take really fluffy brushes and really take your time blending out. I wouldn't try to pack on these shades. They just don't blend out well. They get patchy and it's gross. Do I think that these palettes are worth it? No. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have every single shade in here in my collection, whether it's in literally the Club Nebula palette. Like, this could be a dupe for the Club Nebula palette. If you don't own the Club Nebula palette, that was a limited edition palette, this would be a great dupe for it. And I do like the quality in here, and I think you'll like it too. Let me know what you guys think about these palettes. Did you pick any of them up? Which one is your favorite? But anyway, that completes this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know this is so late, but hopefully I was able to help you make a decision whether you want to purchase these or not. Hopefully this was helpful in any way. If this video was helpful for you, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so much. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. I'm about to wipe this whole look off. My negative energy, but don't let my negative energy sway you. Oh, like, don't let my negative energy, I don't want to let my negative energy scare you away. I really don't want to let my, oh my gosh, words.